Farmers are losing money and going bust all over the country. PV solar farms are desperately looking for suitable locations. Mix them up and you've got agrivoltaics. Now, imagine you're a farmer and someone tells you there's a way to transform your farm's bottom line, the profit. Now, for some UK farmers, new research suggests that a new technology could potentially double their annual operating profit. In a world of razor-thin margins and unprecedented uncertainty, that's not just an offer, it's actually a lifeline. Well, this is the story of agrivoltaics, a way to harvest the sun twice, once for food, once for energy. Now, it sounds like the perfect solution, but there's a catch. A fierce debate is brewing over the future of our countryside, our food and our energy, and it threatens to stop this agricultural revolution dead in its tracks. This is Dave Takes It On. I'm Dave with the breakdown. And thanks very much to all those who subscribed and the support that gives the channel. So, why would a farmer even think about covering their fields in solar panels? Well, you just have to understand the immense pressure they're under. For years, UK agriculture has been squeezed from all sides. Rising costs for fuels and fertilisers and feed are colliding with volatile prices, massive climate swings and big changes in government support. And that leaves many farmers facing a cash flow crisis. Business consultants are forecasting that total farm income will fall in 2026 thanks to weaker global markets and a higher labour cost. Now, while overall profitability, they claim, might stay near the long-term average, that figure masks the tough reality for individual farms, where income is falling, anxiety is rising. The National Farmers Union has warned that many members are concerned about even the short-term viability of their very businesses, the farms. It's a relentless battle against economic forces that are largely out of their control. Geopolitical events can send input costs soaring, while extreme weather, from droughts to floods, add yet another layer of unpredictability. This isn't just a bad year for many. It feels like a structural crisis. It's pushing people to the brink and forcing them to look for radical solutions just to keep their heads above water. The traditional business of farming, for many, is no longer enough. Many have already diversified, turning to tourism, converting unused barns to chic, stylish holiday residences. And it's in this climate of desperation and resilience that a new idea is taking root. And this is where agrivoltaics enters the picture. The concept is brilliantly simple. Just combine agriculture with solar panels on the same piece of land. Now, instead of a field being used for either food or energy, it can now do both. It's often called dual-use farming. Well, think of solar panels. You just raise them a little bit higher for sheep or other livestock to be able to graze underneath, or spaced a little bit further apart to allow crops to be grown between the rows. And the appeal is straightforward. It offers farmers a second, stable and predictable income stream. While crop prices fluctuate and harvests can fail, a contract to sell electricity to the grid provides a steady, reliable revenue source, sometimes signed up for decades. And this diversification is the economic lifeline many are searching for. It's a buffer against market shocks and bad weather, helping to stabilise farm incomes in a very volatile world. But the financial incentives are very compelling. Now, while it's no guarantee, some UK-focused studies have suggested that in the right locations, a farmer's annual operating profit could easily double. And many other industry analysis suggest exactly the same. It could raise incomes by well over 100%. Farmers can also slash their own costs, their own energy bills, by using power on site from the panels, and they can earn extra revenue through the export tariffs. They get one revenue for being a generator and one for what they export. For a business under constant pressure, these aren't just numbers. They represent resilience and a chance to invest in the future. And the benefits aren't just economic. So early research suggests other advantages too. The shade from the panels can protect livestock from extreme heat and protect crops from scorching, While it also reduces water evaporation from the soil. Under the panels becomes its own microclimate. In a world of increasing climate extremes, these microclimates could prove to be invaluable and maybe essential tool. One first-generation farmer in Lincolnshire who started with just 18 acres says solar grazing, as she calls it, has given her a massive leg up, allowing her to expand her flock to over 200 sheep. The panels provide shelter, the land is secure, and her flock improves the soil, you know how, all while she grazes that land for free. So, if agrivoltaics offers a potential win-win-win for farmers, clean energy and even biodiversity, why isn't every field in the UK sprouting solar panels? And this is the catch. The rapid growth of solar has ignited a fierce debate, pitting the need for clean energy against the need for food security. In simplistic minds across the country, fields either produce food or energy, and you can't turn food-producing fields to produce energy. That's a loss. Well, the central conflict revolves around a simple acronym, BMV, or Best and Most Versatile Agricultural Land. This is the high-quality soils, graded 1, 2 or 3, and most productive for growing food. For years, government planning guidance has stated that solar projects should, wherever possible, avoid this land. Throughout 2023-2024, ministers reiterated their preferences in parliamentary statements, ensuring that proposals for solar on high-grade land face intense scrutiny. Critics worry that allowing large-scale solar, even agrivoltaics, on productive farmland will jeopardise the UK's ability to feed itself. They paint a picture of an industrialised countryside, a sea of glass and steel where fields of wheat once grew, where farmers forego the benefits of rising at 4 a.m, to abandon the land they live on, to the lure of an easy, reliable generation revenue. National Farmers Union, or NFU, holds a bit of a nuanced position on this. While it supports on-farm renewables, it also generally prefers that large-scale solar farms be located on rubbish, lower-quality land to avoid any chance of compromising food production or farmers having to make that choice. Well, this debate has created a major hurdle, but it's not the only one. Even for farmers who want to press ahead, the practical barriers are immense. One recent poll of energy experts found that 75% believe that getting a timely grid connection is the biggest challenge to rolling out renewables in the UK. Rural electricity networks are often not built for this, and the cost and the time it takes to get a connection can kill a project before it even starts. That has reduced somewhat in recent years thanks to NESO, which now prioritises grid connections not on who applies first, but based on readiness. If you're all set up, ready to go, you jump straight to the front of the queue for connection. And it's not just that. The UK government, currently has no dedicated national level planning policy for agrivoltaics. Projects are handled under existing solar and agricultural rules, which creates a regulatory grey area, often contradictory, that stifles innovation. These rules are often mutually exclusive. Technology is new, the upfront costs are high, and without a clear, supportive policy environment, many farmers are simply unwilling or unable to take the risk. They're caught between the promise of a brighter future and a system that isn't quite ready for it. But of course, this isn't an unsolvable problem. The story of agrivoltaics isn't about an impossible choice between food and energy, but about finding a smarter way to get both from the same land. You see, surely common says that a field of a certain size that currently grazes sheep will still be able to graze exactly the same number of sheep, panels or no panels. The solution lies in nuance, careful planning and a legal commitment to genuine long-term multifunctional land use. No, well, let's try it for a year. If it doesn't work, just abandon it. Okay, the raw potential is staggering. There's a study recently from the University of Sheffield, and it calculated that the technical potential of agrivoltaics in the UK is so high it could theoretically meet the nation's electricity demand more than 4 times over. That's sharing the same land for 2 purposes. The study makes it clear this isn't about blanketing the country in panels, but it shows the land area is available. The real limit isn't space, but policy. The most suitable regions like Cambridgeshire, Essex, Lincolnshire and Cornwall, they have the right combination of sunshine, some flat land, grid connections that make them ideal test beds. Now, before the wise guys state the obvious, solar PV doesn't work at night. Yeah, we know. These new schemes are increasingly linking solar panels with new ultra-cheap grid-connected batteries based on sodium ions or LFP batteries. These are true game changers because everything that's produced every single day is either used immediately or stored for later use. And when the grid experiences overproduction, as it often does at specific times, then there's no need to start shutting down solar and wind farms. Just get all those batteries to swallow up the excess. That's proper use of PV solar. Now, this isn't just a theory. As early as 2025, there were more than a dozen operational commercial agrivoltaic projects in the UK. Most are small scale and focus on the most straightforward application. That's just grazing sheep under the panels. This model is proving to be a practical and effective starting point. At the proposed Great North Road Solar Park, for instance, there are plans for thousands of sheep to graze beneath the panels, managed by local farmers. This model saves the project millions in mowing costs while providing the farmers with secure local grazing, makes it a clear win-win. For agrivoltaics to move from a niche solution to a mainstream strategy, a few things need to happen. First, the UK needs a really clear policy framework that recognises the unique dual-use nature of agrivoltaics, distinguish it from solar that takes land out of production. Second, we need more serious investment to upgrade rural grid infrastructure and remove that single biggest bottleneck. Finally, the debate needs to move beyond the simplistic food versus energy narrative. As signalled in government work on a forthcoming land use framework, with efficient and multifunctional land use, it is possible to have enough land for housing, farming and renewables all to coexist. See, agrivoltaics is not a magic bullet. It won't be right for every farm or every crop. Sunflowers grown for sunflower oil probably would not appreciate any shade. That could lower yields. On the other hand, sheep grazing on parched fields with withered dry grass scorched by the sun would welcome them with open arms. But more recently, panel manufacturers have drifted away from totally opaque, that's non-see-through, PV panels to semi-transparent panels that allow through 30 to 60% of the light with no reduction in electrical output. Well, the economics depend heavily on location, mixed design, technology, and a decent grid connection. But it represents a powerful new tool for some struggling farmers. It's a promising strategy that offers a rare glimpse of a future where agriculture is more resilient, more profitable, and a central part of the solution to the climate crisis. The opportunity is immense, but so are the challenges. The story of agrivoltaics is the story of huge economic potential held back by a crucial national debate. It forces us to ask tough questions about what we value most from our countryside. So, what do you think is the right balance between food security and cheap energy independence? Can we really have both from the same fields? Let us know your thoughts down below. I'm Dave.